You are not just another hustling salesperson. You are the expert, the resource, the valuable partner for your clients. And how you grow your business should reflect how your clients see you. Welcome to the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. We generate referrals without asking, build positive client experiences, and help you take control of your business. Here's your charmingly sarcastic host, Stacey Brown Randall.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 136 of the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Brown Randall. We are kicking off our January challenge, which is 5 days to jumpstart your referrals. I think it's very fitting to jumpstart our referrals in January as we are getting started with this brand new year. So if you've never done a challenge with me, or no judgment zone, you've signed up for one, but never actually completed it, or maybe, don't tell anyone, even started it, it's okay. You are all welcome to come join us in our Referrals Without Asking Facebook group while we dive in to this 5 days to jumpstart your referrals. It's just a 5-day challenge, a little small tiny task. Okay, not every day is a little tiny task, but pretty much one small action a day that will get you moving in the right direction and get your referrals moving in the right direction for this 2021 year. Just go to staceybrownrandall.com/challenge to sign up. And if you know another business owner or sales professional who definitely needs to jumpstart their referrals, well then have them sign up as well. I will put, of course, the link to this challenge in our show notes page, which for this episode is staceybrownrandall.com/136. Okay, so in the last episode 135, I gave you a way to really examine and get clear on not only how many referral sources you have, but also the strength of the relationship you have with those referral sources. Because here's the thing, if you want more, or really any referrals this year, it's all dictated by the number of people you have currently referring you, or by how many clients and contacts that you hope will start referring you. I talked last episode about the importance of understanding how valuable this number is. The most important number that you need to understand if you want more referrals is the idea of knowing how many referral sources you have. But it also goes a little bit deeper than that. And that's what we uncovered in last week's episode when we really dove into understanding the strength of the relationship that you have with those referral sources. I mean, let's be honest, some of them probably referred you like 2 or 3 years ago, and they haven't referred you since, and you don't have much of a relationship with them versus the person who just referred you last week, right? I mean, it's just an entirely different type of relationship you have with those folks. And so getting clear, not only with how many referral sources you have, but then getting clear with the relationship you have with them, that's really, really important. So here's an example that I'm going to use to kind of articulate what I'm talking about in terms of how important this process is. So like if you listened to episode 135 last week and then you skipped over the actual doing of the activity, I'm going to encourage you guys, please go back and do that activity. Go in and you can download the activity sheet, like the worksheet that I gave you to make it easy to complete the activity. When I have things like that, I do try to make it easy on you guys and create whatever it is you need so you can just follow along with my worksheet or the PDF download or whatever it is. But I really encourage you to go back and download that and do that process because it's a very, very valuable one. If you really have decided, okay, finally 2021 is the year I get serious about my referrals. But here's an example I want to kind of use to explain this. Now, this is about Jackie. Jackie is an architect in San Francisco. She is one of the students of the Growth by Referrals program. So these are all real. This is not a fictional example that I'm using to explain my point. I'm using a real example to explain my point. And I'm hoping that in the very near future, she'll say yes to being on an upcoming episode because I really would like for you guys to hear her story about the success she had in 2020 with her referral explosion. But here's the short version of her story that I'm going to tell you guys and use as my example. In 2019, Jackie had received 5 referrals. In 2020, she received 15 referrals. She tripled the number of referrals she had received from one year to the next. How? How did she increase from 5 referrals in one year to 15 the next year? Now, okay, let me first say, yes, she joined the Growth by Referrals program in January of 2020. So, of course, she had the roadmap to have the type of results that she received because she was joining the program. So in 2019, right, she wasn't in our program. She received 5 referrals, which means, hey, she's referable. She does good work. Actually, from what I understand, they do pretty amazing, incredible work, and people love her. And so she received 5 referrals, which is usually what you can kind of expect. Maybe not that exact number, but it's usually what you can expect when you do great work. There will be that sporadic. Some people do refer you. But then Jackie decided, and she runs the firm with her husband, they decided, hey, we're going to get serious about getting more referrals. And so what she ended up doing is joining the Growth by Referrals program, of course, and she did that in January. And then she did the work. That is super important, right? She didn't just join the program and be like, poof, now I'm going to have all these referrals. No, she went through the program and she did the work. But how did she go from receiving 5 referrals one year to tripling that number and getting 15 referrals the next year? Well, one of the things she had to focus on was actually increasing the number of new referral sources while continuing to cultivate referrals from her existing referral sources. So to learn how to do both of those things, right? She knew she would learn how to cultivate new referral sources, meaning someone who's never referred her, to get them to start referring her, and to cultivate referrals from existing referral sources. So like the people that are probably down on your list when you did the work from episode 135. So she figured out through following the Growth by Referrals program, right? It showed her how to do both. It showed her how to cultivate referrals from existing referral sources, and then how to turn clients and contacts into referral sources so that they become new referral sources. And then, of course, that is what allowed her to go from 5 referrals a year to 15 the next year. Now, the important thing for you to walk away with from this story is, yes, of course, that she had a great referral explosion, and 15 referrals is more than they'd ever received in any given year. So that's incredible and amazing, and I'm super thrilled with her success. But what you have to recognize is that Jackie went through the exact same process I'm asking you guys to go through. And that is, I want you to understand what you're working with. When we look at these referral sources and we're thinking, okay, what's my relationship like with them? How many of them do I have? And really digging in and understanding what are the odds. It really does come down to that. If you're not going to do anything to cultivate referrals from these folks, at least looking at what they've given you in the past and how many you have and who they are and the strength of the relationship you have with them, you can kind of make some estimations or guesstimates of how many referrals you think you will receive this year. And I'm going to walk you through a quick formula math. Yeah, we're going to do some math together. Doesn't that sound like fun? But I'm going to walk you through a quick formula that'll help you understand exactly what this looks like. But what I want you to hear first, before I kind of show you how to do this in your own business, is that when Jackie was deciding referrals were important to her firm, she got serious about understanding who her referral sources are. Now, for those of you in the Growth by Referrals program, you know exactly what Jackie went through because it's a module 2. Like, you can't get past module 2 if you can't do the process of really digging into who are your referral sources. And what Jackie realized, she's probably going to need more. And what COVID taught her is she's going to probably need more than she thought. So she got really serious about it. And that's why she was able to increase or triple her referrals received in 1 year. Okay, so next week, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper to who these fabulous humans, our referral sources, really are, right? So we're going to dive in even deeper than we did last week of really understanding and getting our arms around understanding who these fabulous humans are, who these referral sources are. But today, with this episode, I just want to pause for a second, and I want to help you figure out, based on your business data, and using some simple math, because you guys know I don't like public math. I like simple math, right? Nothing that's going to embarrass me to show you that I don't really care for math. Of course, I guess I'll never care for it if I keep saying that. But I want to help you figure out, based on some business data and some simple math, what you can expect to receive in terms of referrals for this year. Now, as you can imagine, there are some caveats to this. That is right. And I will address these as we go, but I want to go ahead and put 2 out there right up front. So one of the caveats I want you to understand about this process is it's 2020 may have really done a number on your business. I mean, for some of you, 2020 was devastating. For others, you actually had the best year ever, and you're really not quite sure if you'll actually be able to sustain that in 2021. So for some of you, you had crazy growth in 2020, and you don't know if that's repeatable this year in 2021, just based on different scenarios and factors and outside extenuating circumstances. And for others of you, you had no growth, or you actually declined, right? Your growth was less than it had ever been before. So we do have to understand that going through this exercise that I'm going to put you guys through, we do have to understand that 2020, right? It may not look, if 2020 had not have happened, this could look different for you. But 2020 did happen, and we can't pretend like it didn't. So just understand as we're going through this process to put things in perspective for yourself. I'm not with you sitting there like walking you through over a cup of coffee from Starbucks, right? I'm not sitting there walking you through exactly what this means in terms of your business. But if I was sitting there with you and I was watching you do these numbers on the back of an envelope, right? And I was walking you through how this worked, the question I would ask is, now, how much of these numbers were negatively or positively impacted by 2020? And are they repeatable for 2021? And if they are, great. And if they're not, just take that into account when you get to the final numbers that we are going for as we compute this very simple math formula to determine what you can expect to receive this year in terms of referrals. So that's caveat number one. Caveat number two is we're going to get to the number you can expect to receive. So please do not expect anything to change. If all you do is calculate your average and don't actually have any plans to do anything different to grow or increase the number of referrals you're going to receive. If you calculate your average and your number is like, whatever, that's my number, I'm good with it. Or maybe your number's great, you're like, I'm good with it. And that's all you want to do, that's fine. But just doing this calculation and looking at what you want to receive and then setting a goal for what you would love to receive, between what you should receive, your average, and where you want to go, your goal for the number of referrals you want, which is usually an increase over your average, there is work to be done in between these two numbers. So just because I'm going to help you figure out what you can expect to receive from a referral perspective for this year, and I'm going to say, hey, let's do a little dreaming and what would it look like to get bigger than that number and what would that goal look like, it doesn't mean just because you write it down on a piece of paper, it's magically going to happen, right? You have to make a commitment, a decision first, and then a commitment to do different things throughout the year to take care of their referral sources or cultivate new referral sources like Jackie had to do so that you can hit that number. You don't just do the math and then magically think you're going to hit the number. There is work to be done, like taking care or even maybe better care of your referral sources, right? Making sure you're using the right language with your referral sources, particularly your existing referral sources, and then different type of language with people you want to start referring you. And really making sure you understand what it looks like that if you don't have enough referral sources, or you have referral sources but not the right relationships to be able to get more referrals, then what is it going to take? What's the work you're going to do? What are the actions you're going to take to create new referral sources? So you have to remember that this is going to happen because you've decided to do work with it, right? So it's not just going to happen because we're doing some math. There is a gap in between these two final numbers we're going to come up with, and I'm going to walk you through, and you got to recognize only you can fill the gap. I can help you along, right? I can help you along to help you see what it looks like to fill the gap. But at the end of the day, you got to do the work to fill in the gap between what you probably will receive based on past historical data versus what you ultimately want to receive, and I would say deserve to receive. But in between those two numbers is the work you have to commit to doing. So some of you are listening right now and you're like, that's not a commitment I'm willing to make right now. Guys, that's okay. I mean, it kind of makes me sad, I'll be honest, but it's okay. It's like you deciding to get in shape this year. Some years you're all for it, and some years you're like, yeah, nope, this is not the year, right? Like we all have decisions and commitments to make, and what are our priorities? So if you want more referrals this year, it has to be a priority. It will not just happen. If it would just happen, that would be incredible, and what would I be doing here? It doesn't just happen. So we have to keep that in mind. So I'm going to walk you through the simple math and how we're going to figure out these numbers. And to make it easy on you guys, as I always try to do, download the worksheet. It is a one-page worksheet, which you know right there means there's not a lot of calculations. But it is a one-page worksheet that you can download. You can get it on the show notes page, stacybrownrandall.com/136. The last number is always correlation, of course, to the episode number for the show notes page. So stacybrownrandall.com/136. That is the show notes page where you can go and, of course, download this worksheet that I have called or titled Calculating Your 2021 Referral Explosion Number. But that's the last number we're going to get to. We got to back into it first. Okay, so if you do grab this worksheet, I promise this will be easier for you. And I'm going to walk you guys through it. For those of you who are sitting there because you're not driving or doing anything where you would harm yourself or someone else, if you want to write this stuff down as I do it, that's fine too. Grab a piece of paper, grab the back of an envelope, whatever it looks like for you. But there is this great worksheet that makes it a lot easier. So the very first number I need you to understand is actually how many new clients do you really need in a year? I one time had somebody tell me, I want 100 clients this year. I think that was the number. They're like, I want 100 clients this year. Or maybe, no, you know what? I know what it was. They're like, I want 50 clients this year. And I remember thinking, okay, awesome, 50 clients. Tell me about how many clients you had last year. And they said 12. And I said, do you have the capacity to work with 50 clients in a year? And she was like, well, no. I'm like, well, then why do you want 50? She's like, because I like the number, because it makes me feel like my business is growing. I'm like, but the way you have your business structured, you can't even help 50 people. What would you do if you had 50 people who said, yes, I want to hire you? I was like, if 12 is what you can manage, why don't we just try to double that and then figure out how you're going to handle the capacity? So this isn't the number, pie in the sky number that actually you couldn't handle if it came into your business. For some of you, this is a dozen or two. And because of what you do for people, that is a very full year. For others of you, you need 50 or 75. And for some of you, you need hundreds. It just depends on what you sell, so to speak. If I'm working with you as okay, let's pretend for a second I'm your interior designer, which is laughable because I have like no sense of style. But let's just imagine for a second I'm your interior designer. And if I'm working with you, right, and that's more of a hands-on process, even if I have a team behind me, more than likely, depending on how small or large my team is, I may be only taking on 10 to 20 clients a year because those projects last for a while and they have ebbs and flows based on the stages of, whether we're doing a brand new house, a brand new build, or we're just renovating a house, or we're just, redecorating some rooms. There is a longevity to those kind of processes and there's a rhythm to them. And so maybe 20 new clients is all you can handle. Maybe for you, it's 200 new clients, but get really clear about how many clients you can have this year. And here's the best way to do this. If you have set a goal for yourself this year and you have said, hey, I want to do 100,000, or hey, I want to do 500,000, or I want to do 1 million, reverse engineer yourself into that number. If what you sell is $1 and you want to make $1 million this year, guess how many things you got to sell, or whatever it is you sell? 1 million of them. You have any idea how you'll do that? So here's how it works. If you say you want to hit $100,000 this year, well, what is the average amount that someone spends with you? Let's just say, for sake of argument, they spend $5,000 a year with you, right? And so you want to make $100,000 a year. So you take that $100,000 that you want to make in revenue, you divide it by the average that someone spends with you, $5,000, and then that tells you how many you have to sell. And I'm super embarrassed right now because I know you guys can't see me, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know mathematically what that number is. I just pulled out the calculator on my phone and I'm doing it right now. So $100,000 is what you want to make, and each person spends $5,000 with you. I'm really embarrassed. The answer is 20. I'm sure you all knew that, and you're laughing at me because I'm laughing at me that I didn't know that. So you want to make $100,000 for the year? You need 20 people to spend $5,000 with you. right? 20 people to spend $5,000 with you and you can make your $100,000. So that's the number of new clients you need. You want to do 250 of that? Obviously the math would look different. Okay. So here's the thing. If you're trying to figure out how many clients you need for this year, but yet you've set some random revenue number, reverse engineer yourself to how you got to that random revenue number. I talked about a couple episodes ago. I don't remember exactly which one, but I talked about how I did this, right? Like I think every business owner at some point in their lives gets to the place they're like, I want to make $1 million. And then I did back of the envelope reverse engineering. What does it look like for Stacy and this company to get to $1 million? And I was like, I do not want to work that hard, or I need to seriously increase my prices, right? And I don't want to do either of those. Like, I mean, we are going through a price increase this year, but not a serious price increase. And so I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, but if the profit margin is there at 500,000, do I really have to work that hard to hit $1 million? When I can make the same profit off of 500,000 and work less, sign me up, right? So figure this number out. And if you have questions about this, guys, that's why we have the Referrals Without Asking Facebook group. You guys know you can hop in there and ask me questions. I will see it faster if you do tag me in the post that you're putting in there, but definitely hop in there and ask me a question if you have questions about what this mathematical portion looks like as you figure out the number of new clients you need in a year. Okay, and then you got to do a little work and you've got to go in and you've got to figure out how many referrals, and I mean real referrals, like real referrals. Hopefully you know what I mean when I say that. And let me give you a little disclaimer for that in a minute. But the number of real referrals you got in 2020, the number of real referrals you got in 2019, and the number of real referrals you got in 2018. What was those numbers? So it's the number of referrals last year, 2019 and 2018. And a real referral is not a repeat client. It is not a client coming back to you for a second time. You do not refer yourself. I know some of you guys are taught that, particularly my real estate agents. That's not how it works. A referral happens when I put my reputation on the line and refer someone else. So I can refer you my brother. Yes, family members can be referred, but I'm not necessarily referring myself. Okay, that's just me coming back as a repeat client. Make sure when you're looking through who these real number of referrals were that you can say, hey, I got 12 referrals last year, and here's the 12 clients, and here's who their referral sources were. Here's the human who referred them. So it's really important you understand exactly how many referrals you received last year, the year before, and 2018. Now, if you just started your business in 2020, you've got 1 year's worth of data. If you started in 2019, you've got 2 years. But if you started your business 3, 5, 10, 15 years ago, give me 3 years of data. And then we're just going to do some simple math. And the simple math is this. You're going to add together those 3 years of the number of referrals you received. So you'll add together your number from 2020, 2019, and 2018, and you divide by 3. And that's going to give you the average number of referrals you receive in 1 year. That's what I'm saying you will probably receive this year. All things being equal and nothing crazy happening like last year, again, to upset the world off of its kilter yet again, right? So if you did receive some referrals in 2020, probably the hardest year for some people in business, then I would assume that that's not going to slow you down this year. So that's your average number of referrals that you can expect to receive. And if that number is good with you, stop there, my friend. What I'm hoping, though, is you're looking at that number thinking to yourself, I would like to double that, or I would at least like to increase it, or maybe I actually want to triple it. Right? Maybe I want to be like Jackie and I have 5 referrals as my average and I want to get to 15 in a year. I want that to be my average. So then once you kind of know what your average looks like, then I want you to start paying attention to the strength of your referral sources and how it impacts that number. So how many referral sources did you have when you did the activity from episode 135? So when you went through and listed out at least the last couple of years of referral sources, and then you actually had to look at your relationship with them. And we used a scale of 1 to 5, right, to define the type of relationship we had with our referral sources. So how many total did you have when you did that exercise? And then the second question is, well, how many of those referral sources actually received a 3, 4, or 5 when you did the ranking? So when you gave them a score, not rank them as in like order, right? But like when they received a score from you on the scale of 1 to 5, how many received a 3, how many received a 4, and how many received a 5? We're not counting the ones who were 1s and 2s, right? That relationship is not strong enough, and referrals received in the past doesn't have enough strength. So then you got to look, how many referral sources do I have? Okay, so here's my average number of referrals a year. Based on typically, probably, here's the number of referral sources I have. But where my relationship has strength, that's my real number of referral sources. It's the ones that I ranked with a 3, 4, or 5. Now, you could be wrong and a 1 could refer you tomorrow. Yes, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yay for you. But we're looking at this from the perspective that we would expect based on our average and based on our average number of referrals received and the number of referral sources we have, and then the number of those that actually have some strength to that relationship and they are ranked as a 3, 4, or 5. Based on that, now we think to ourselves, okay, if I wanted to get more referrals than my average, what is a reasonable goal for me to aim for? But here's that caveat again. There is work to be done between your average number of referrals received and then the number of referrals you want as your goal for 1 year to get more referrals. There is work to be done. Now, again, this makes tons of sense if you're looking at it on the worksheet because you can see these headers, right? The headers of the worksheet are like new clients, referral specific. That's where we're getting our averages. Then it's let's do the math. Then it's our referral source strength. And then at the very bottom, we get to set our goal for 1 year. The goal for 1 year is how many referrals you want based on what the data tells you, but what you're willing to work towards. Because if you're willing to do the work, right? If you're willing to grow the relationship and strengthen the relationship with your existing referral sources. And if you're willing to create new referral sources, cultivate new referral sources, and do the work to take care of your existing referral sources so you can get more referrals, that is how we get to that goal. You don't get to say, I want 15 referrals and then do exactly what you've always done. That's only ever given you 5 in a year. You got to decide what work are you going to do? How are you going to make this better? How are you going to have a process or a plan or a strategy that you're going to follow that's going to take you from your average of 5 with your average of 7 referral sources that are ranked at 3 or higher and get you to 15 or 20 or whatever your number is? You got to decide what work you're going to do. And I'm going to be right there alongside you through this podcast and my book and, of course, my programs, helping you figure it out. You're not alone in this, but I do need you to get really clear and get really real about what this actually looks like in your business. So here's the thing I want to know. I'm sitting here waiting, bated breath. I want to know, what is your referral explosion number going to be for 2021? What's it going to be when you do the math? That very number at the very bottom of the page, what's that number going to be? Tell me what your average is. Tell me how many referral sources you have. And then, of course, tell me what you want to get to. Because I know if you say, hey, I got 3 referrals and now I want 10, or I received 20 referrals on average and I really want to receive 35 or 40, I then know you're also starting to make the commitment to doing the work to get there. So share that with me in the Referrals Without Asking Facebook group. Look for post for episode 136 and leave a comment, or just start your own post and say, hey, Stacey, episode 136, here's what I want to do. Here's the goal I've set for myself for my referral explosion in 2021. Okay, and if you want a little help with this, you want a little bit of live help with this, okay, then you've got to sign up for our challenge that starts on Monday. It is the Jumpstart Your Referrals Challenge. 5 days, Jumpstart Your Referral Challenge. Sign up now at stacybrownrandall.com/challenge. Get signed up and grab a business buddy or business bestie or just someone you know who needs more referrals too to go through the challenge with you. 5 days is not a long time, but life gets busy right there in the middle always. And so if you want to be committed to finishing that challenge, well, get someone to help you stay committed. Sign up and get an accountability partner. Go to stacybrownrandall.com/challenge. Trust me, you'll enjoy this challenge as much as I enjoy doing them. All right, next week is episode 137. And guess what? We are going to stay with the same topic on referral sources and start really getting clear. Yes, it's possible to get more clear and clarifying those who. Who are those who? Our referral sources. Yep, we're going one step deeper. Okay, don't miss it. Until then, take control and grow your business. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. To access all resources and links mentioned in today's show and to connect with Stacey, head over to www.stacybrownrandall.com.